Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Dinar Perspectives Roundtable. This is Thursday, 8th February. Tonight we have Kaylee, Bobby, and myself. And we're not going to drag a lot of stuff out because there's a lot of good news out there. We're still waiting on stuff. But we're going to start out with this investment statement. And we're just going to go ahead and kick it off because we were getting into some good conversation prior to the recording, and I don't want to miss this. So we hope we have a good call for y'all tonight. Anyway, moving forward, Bobby, this NIC statement. What's your opinion about it to begin with, and then move from that, maybe tie it into some things.
Yeah. Well, first off, kudos to Kaylee for bringing it to our attention, and
yes,
all the people that were involved in the thread last night, great stuff, very good stuff. There were some concerns about it and everything else, but it's basically what we've been waiting on. We've always talked about the investors into Iraq, and where are they? We see all these countries donating and stuff like that. Where are the private investors? Where the big guys, the startup type people? Now, going back to a little bit of history on this, this is all part of the Iraqi Vision 2030 plan and everything like that. What came out of that last year was we saw issues with the investment law that were coming up, mainly with Kuwait wanting to come into Iraq, and there were obstacles, they called them, with the investment law. And we were always looking for the investment law to come before Parliament, and it wasn't happening, and we were kind of like, what the heck's going on here? Anyway, around July or August of last year, a body formed this high committee, and this high committee was to work in conjunction with or side by side with the investment law, but do what the investment law couldn't do. Okay, so now this article comes out last night, and it talks about protections, ease of business, arbitration, and stuff like that. So reading it last night and thinking about it today, we can go back to the COM meeting of Tuesday. And what did they do at this COM meeting? Okay. Now, going back to the NIC real quick, it talked about the public-private partnership and everything. Okay. So now going back to the COM meeting, they voted for the inclusion of the New York Convention of 1958. Okay. So what is that? It basically deals with the arbitration avenue that people have if there's a dispute or anything. Exactly what investors need. They need a legal route that if they have an issue, they don't have to go before Iraq and say, we've got a problem where you have the conflict of interest, on any of that. They can go to a separate arbitration type hearing and have it heard. It's basically an insurance policy. I've got a way out of this thing, or I can appeal to someone else besides who I'm dealing with. Okay, so that was the big deal. This New York Convention of 1958. If you ever get a chance to look at it, look at it. It involves over 150 countries, and it's just a really cool deal. So now, going back to the COM meeting one more time, and it may have been missed, but they talked about the what I call it, the conclusion of the public-private partnership contracts. And you guys have always heard us talk about this. How is this P3 thing going to work? They told us. They told us Tuesday exactly what they're doing. And it spells it out right there. They are doing this as we speak, leading up to the donor conference. It's what the donor conference asked for, and it's what they're getting right now. If you ever get a chance to see Kaylee's post, and this was on the 6th of February. Read the commenting. She put it in the thread. She broke it down beautifully. And you just have to read it. And one title of the thread was "The Cabinet Votes on a Partnership Between the Public and Private Sectors." Boom. There you go. They voted on the convention on the recognition and enforcement of the Foreign Arbitral Awards, also known as the New York Convention. Boom. It's right there. Okay. So going back to this NIC article, this lays the groundwork for what the donor conference and the investors, over 2,300 companies and people and stuff like that, and this is it right here. I mean, it just lays it out perfectly. So,
Bobby, I wonder how this ties into that article that needed redress in the investment law. That I'm wanting to say 58, 53. It was an article number that needed revamp. This sounds like it's at least addressing that. Because it's one of the things I've been looking for. If you're talking about criteria and looking for what's been met, finding confirmation on that investment law being up to date. This sounds like that. Yeah. That's why I'm saying that. So go ahead with what you were saying.
No. That's a very good point. You and I talked about this last year about, when a body was first reaching out to the GCC countries last year, and, we got excited about that, about the possibility of the working relationship between Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, Iraq. Okay? And yet they came back from that and said that there are obstacles that are preventing this from happening. And then that's when he formed the High Committee, and it basically gives them the power to not wait for Parliament to amend the investment law or anything like that. They've adopted this strategy themselves and backed it up with the inclusion of the New York Convention of 1958. Okay, that gave, because see, these investors from Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, whomever, were looking at Iraq, and there were issues with this investment law. It just wasn't working for them. They didn't like it. Not saying the whole thing's bad, but there was a certain aspect of them not liking that, and a lot of it had to do with what's our out on this? What's our protections here and stuff like that. They just gave it to them. Mm-hmm. They just gave it to them with this new document that came out. So there were a couple comments made in regards to this, and if I can pull them out, let me read you one of them. And this came from Bill, and it spoke to it really good. I mean, really good. There were a lot of great comments on there, but this one kind of stuck with me last night and today. And basically, here's what Bill Wall said. He said, anytime they are talking about international compliance in regards to foreign investor arbitration, fairness for all, for foreign investors to be treated the same as their domestic investors, and ease of access for foreign investors, families, workers, etc., are all huge, huge building blocks for what we are waiting on. This just goes to show that they are not playing around going into this conference. This could happen any day. I mean, 100%. That talks to everything about this. So, I always, people ask me about a rate before the conference. No way, and I'm still kind of hesitant because we're only 6 days out or something like that, 5 or 6 days out. I'm not looking for a rate, and we're not trying to say that this thing has a rate in it or anything like that. This gives them the opportunity to have a rate now. I guarantee it. You know, because when investors come in and stuff like that, you know, if you're going to pay all these investors USD, you better start pumping a lot more oil than you're pumping now to get more USD. That's the only way they get USD. Yet they're bound by OPEC restrictions on how much they pump.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you can't go through this total rebuild. Granted, you're getting a lot of money from donor countries, but this is the time for them to stand on their own. And this NIC article and what the COM did on Tuesday backs everything up we wanted.
And then the meeting today with the investment, I can't even think of their name, but the meeting today with the body and his high council. Why can't I think of their name? You just posted an article about it, Bobby. All of it together. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that meeting as well is also a part of it.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely nuts what's going on. You know, we just ask for people to sit back and let this soak in. That's why we do these calls. You know, we do a little bit of research into this, and you know, we try and tie it in for everybody. And this thing is just an absolute thing of beauty how this is playing out. I'm trying to find that article we were just talking about, Kaylee, because they did have I think it was a senior, I forgot what they called it. My computer's so slow.
I know. I'm trying to look it up while we're looking. It's like High Committee, Investment Committee or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the this is the no, that's not it right there either. Anyway.
I'll find it for you.
There it is. The Senior Investment Committee discussed the Kuwaiti conference preparations and projects. A good read. You know, see, that goes back to the High Committee and everything, where they endorsed a set of recommendations that will help to implement these projects, including the establishment of a small group linked to the higher committee to follow up and facilitate procedures for investors and lifting the obstacles facing them. Boom. There you go.
It's getting good. It already is good. Yeah.
And see that and you know that's why people say you know, we had somebody talk about, well, you know, aren't we putting what the hell was it? The chicken before the egg or the egg before I don't know.
Yeah,
I screwed that up last night because I couldn't figure out where eggs came from, to be honest with you. I had to Google it, and it's a rooster. Okay, cool. But anyway, no, you know, and that's why, you know, we tried to tell these, or I tried to speak to him, and I said, look, we're not talking about a date or rate here or anything like that. We're showing you the building blocks to get to where they can support and sustain their economy and their currency. Once they get to that point of sustain and support, we're golden. We are absolutely golden. That is the only way that they will go international. You know, when these investors come in, we've always talked about, and this was brought over from one of our good friends, Day Trader, about these investors hedging their bet on the Forex market. Okay, if Iraq has the plan available, the public-private partnership, the NIC investment policy, and everything like that, this does not have to be 100% perfect, but they've already laid the groundwork to where they can support and sustain just off of the Iraqi Vision 2030, okay? Because there's your plan right there. And to enact this, the donor conference will have a big shift towards that. They will assist in this happening. So, yeah, as far as being able to happen anytime, you bet. You bet I'm all for that. And you know me, I've been kind of a Debbie Downer on can they do this now? No, not really.
I don't know that Debbie Downer is the right word, but just more realistic. You're trying to be level-headed, which is good.
Yeah. Well, and we see from all these other sites, and we see it brought into our site, and that all this garbage going on and everything like that, and we've always been steadfast on as soon as they can support and sustain the economy and the value of the dinar going international, the economy will help with sustaining the value going international, obviously, to where the CBI can take this thing international. This is it. Between the NIC, the donor conference, the public-private partnership, where they've issued the contracts, this is done. It is a done deal. So next week is going to be very interesting. There are 3 days, and there's certain blocks within each day that are dedicated to projects, investments, you name it. It's there. I think you posted the itinerary.
I posted one, and I know Tony posted one as well. So it's around there, and I'll find it and bump it up so that people can see, what they're scheduled for at what time and stuff.
Yeah, that's a great idea because we're getting closer and closer to this conference, and it still boils down to we wait and see what happens as far as right. they can have the conference, they can have the 3-day conference. Now we let the dust settle and see what happens. They're not going to end this conference on the 14th, and then all of a sudden all these construction machines are up and ready to go. Let's go do this. They're going to have this conference, and then we will see what comes out of this conference on exactly how they're going to proceed as far as these investors. That's the one I'm concerned with or looking at. I think it might be day one of the itinerary, and it's going to be interesting. We came out with an article today. Our Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, is going to be there. I mean, this thing is just morphing into something that when it started out, we got 400 companies. A week later, hey, now we got 800, and now we got 1,200, and now we got 2,000.
Yeah, we're 2,300.
Yeah, now I saw one today about 3,000. And I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? And I said, let's just hurry up and have the conference.
Hey, Bobby.
Uh-oh. Yes, sir.
We've talked about the chassis, and, they just – now, you have to preface all this with the fact that you still want to see action. The best plans are plans that are able to be enacted. One-shot dream of here's a plan, but it's just a plan. In other words, I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate here. I'm just saying they need to show their work now. So it's
action and implement.
There you go. It's the implementing. It's the putting the plan to action. It's the getting past any of the little hurdles that tend to be ideologically driven. That we get gummed up on. It's good, Bobby, that you pointed out they've come up with mechanisms to bypass certain stymies in Parliament where it concerns issues, and you don't want to rule from one chair, but you need to make it so that impediments are less tolerated. In other words, the plan it has everything you want to see in it. Like I told y'all guys in Messenger, the only thing I didn't see was a date and a rate. So I'm not going to promote this as some date and rate thing. But it's incredibly so. Okay, so what you got now is you got the chassis of the car, but if you don't have the lug nuts on the tires, you still got a problem. Okay, so what we got is we're looking for lug nuts. You know,
there you go.
we got a car built. We almost got a car rolling. If you've ever tried to put together a fixer-upper and you get that thing fixing to be on the road, that's what they got. Why would they put so much effort? Now, what I do remember is that I've seen people put incredible amounts of effort into a car just to sell it. Right, here you go.
Yeah.
But Iraq ain't quite in that position. In other words, they gave up on the car because it became too much effort. You know, Iraq can't give up on this situation, so it doesn't quite work that way analogy-wise. But they can't because it means too much to back up. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is going to be that catalyst, the momentum builder. So it's going to be very important, the after the facts. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Del.
see, Pat, that's the cool thing is that, you know, we can't, you know, while we've talked about the NIC, the P3, the New York Convention and all this, now we have to look at everything that's been going on within the week, okay? They recently came out with the decision to apply the second poverty reduction strategy, okay? We've seen the Ministry of Labor come out with they're now giving out small loans to the unemployed for 30 days. Okay,
right.
They're trying to reduce this poverty level, and with the donor conference and everything coming in, jobs are going to be unreal. I mean, they are going to be jobs coming out the yin yang. I mean, it's just going to be absolutely nuts. But Iraq has taken the steps to forge these documents on poverty reduction. The minister giving out these unemployment checks, more or less, but they're only good for a month. Okay, so you know, if you look at that, you know, I can sit there and say, okay, I wonder what's coming within the next month. Okay, a lot.
Small business loans too.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're talking less than medium business. So mom and shops.
Yeah, and see that, and that's kind of why we do these calls, because you know we do realize everybody's got busy lives and you don't have time to read all this stuff, and you know we have the time just because of our schedule. So we're trying to tie this in, but we can't focus on one thing without bringing everything else in on this and show and try and show you where they're going with this. I think this conference is going to be nothing short of unreal. I mean, this is most probably, or this is the most exciting time in this investment, period.
I totally agree.
Well,
you know, I envy anybody new to it and the angst that they have the chance to witness or whatever. But, you know, I do feel like that there's a maturing of our situation coming up. I can't put any sort of guesswork into a time, and I don't think any time is too late. So I think it's just a matter of when the circumstances meet the requirements, then things are negotiable according to the IMF now. So this ain't my words. All I do was challenge you to show me where I'm inaccurate here.
Well, and you know, you bring up new people into this investment. It's the old people in this investment that are you know, those are the ones that get more frustrated than anybody, because we've been in it,
right,
and we've seen stuff in the past that, oh yeah, right, you know, here we go again. No, it's not here we go again.
This is totally different than before.
There you go. And that's why I say, you know,
none of us have been through this.
You know, they've had a rebuild of Iraq. They've had a donor conference before, back in 2004. You know, it didn't go. It wasn't as big as this one, and it didn't go that well. I think this one is like night and day compared to the one back in 2004, I believe it was. But see, that's why we talk about all these small, medium enterprise loans that Pat just discussed. We talk about the reduction of the poverty strategy. We talk about, the World Bank giving them $300 million to improve the living in Iraq. And even that article talked about the small, medium enterprise projects and stuff like that. They're trying to push everything onto the private sector. It's going to be a public-private partnership, but all these outside agencies are forcing Iraq to do this. I say force. A body wants to do this, but
right.
Iraq is a young democracy that he can't. Just like our president, God bless him. He has a hard time pushing stuff through. Because that's politics. Sorry, that's just politics. And Iraq is a very young democracy, and we just have to wait to see what they do. But for the old guard, I challenge you to come on the site and show me where this is no different than it has been. I challenge you to do that. And for the new people, sit tight and read some comments, read the articles. If you have questions, please ask them, and we'll all get through this together.
Well, this might be nails on the blackboard to some, but expectations. If your expectations are set at a tolerable level and something you can modulate, then you're doing good. Because you're ahead of the game. So many people live on they live on needing this to happen. You're not going to need this into existence, brother. But I don't want to be death. But go ahead, Bobby.
No, they're if you listen to what we've been saying the last 30 minutes or so, we're trying to tie this in. When I talked about the World Bank giving them $300 million for the improvement of living, there was one thing in that article that kind of stuck with me. It said the bank said that the Social Development Fund project will finance sub-projects, smaller projects in the areas of education, health, water. Now, here's the good one. And small economic infrastructure plus the ability to access markets. Big deal. That's a big deal coming from the World Bank,
Right. Availability.
And, oh, yeah. I mean, it's just so. Anyway, like I said, you tie this with the reduction in the poverty rate. You tie this in with everything else we've talked about. You see where we're going with this thing.
He's made some bold predictions. I'm not going to say predictions ain't the right word. He's making bold attempts. And if he's successful, he'll be one of their famous statesmen. I'm talking to Body now.
Oh yeah, he'll go down in Middle East history.
Yeah.
He's already made his foothold in Iraqi history. Now he's this guy, if they can pull this off, which I have no doubt that they will, because I doubt if he could do it on his own. I think this donor conference will be the big push that it will elevate Iraq so much that corruption, politics, whatever, can't stop this. It's already in motion. It's bigger than corruption.
Without a doubt.
Oh. So anyway, we covered the NIC. Is there anything else you guys see out there that people are concerned about?
The budget. That's just about. I mean, budget. I think that's probably everybody's biggest concern that I've seen of late.
Yeah. Hey, Kaylee, why don't you talk about, because I think you and I discussed what Shannon Kennedy just brought in, if you want to speak to that.
She just brought in a great article that basically said that they're going to approve the budget at the end of the week with or without the Kurds. So they even said that delaying the adoption of the budget was treason. So, I mean, whether or not we want it to happen, it's got to come together. And if it doesn't, they're going to do it without them. So step up. Let's work this out. Let's see if we can get them a good number and do it, or we're going to do it without you, and so be it, you know. It kind of just I think that's funny and maybe speaks to where we are in this investment, that they're tired of the crap. A body during his press conference, I want to say, well, it was the 6th or something, so Tuesday or Monday, said that, you know, it's unacceptable. There should be no reason that this is taking so long. We need to get it done for our country. You know, it's just it's just politics. That's all it is. It's just back and forth, and it's not good for the country. And they need to do something about it, and they're going to do something about it. It seems, at least. Sunday.
Kaylee?
Yes.
Did they determine that it was going to be the 14%?
I don't think that they have really come. That's what the last I heard was the 14%. But I don't know that they've actually agreed upon that. Is that? But then they're still saying 17%. I think they want 17%, but I think 14 is what they've said is acceptable, right?
There you go. See, I guess that's where I was going with this, was that the Kurds we know are going to want 17%. I mean, they just think that number's written in stone. But if the circumstances are such that you know, they don't deserve all that, and I know we've talked about this for the reasons that they wouldn't deserve that, the federalization of the oil fields, that now not being their under their purview, so it's not under their overhead costs, meaning that's reduced by X. Then you look at the figure 14 and you go, that's happy medium, because originally he wanted to give them 12.6 or whatever it was, and they were 17. We know they don't get 17, so I'm satisfied with a happy medium. When we go back to 12, hey, you know, guess what?
Yeah, and you guys are going to deal with it. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, is just being adults, and let's just come to, I mean, just because we agree doesn't mean that we can't work this out. And at some point you just have to, you know, take your 14 and be happy, or take your 12 and be upset the entire time. So,
well, did the three ministers that they suspended, the Kurdish ministers that they suspended? Yeah. And, you know, so, you know, on the one hand, you can get accused of strong-arming and forcing down the throat. Then on the other hand, you go, well, these are a few malcontents who just won't come any other. You know, at some point.
Well, there's some people that are not going to give no matter what you do, no how much. And that's what it seems to me anyways, especially, you know, they're not going to budge no matter what. They want what they want, and it's almost just to throw everything off. At least it seems to me, again. They would rather hold up everything than just be content with, you know, is it everything we want? No, but at least we're getting better, you know? And that's where I think they should work to come to. But
I think it would be historic if they say they want to get this bagged out Sunday, and they actually do it. You know what I'm saying?
I think, again, that would even speak even more volumes about where we are.
There you go, volume.
You know, action, implement. Let's do it. Let's stop talking about it. Enough's enough.
That would reverberate.
It's February 8th today. So, you know.
There you go.
At some point, it's got to happen.
And is it the 11th that the conference starts?
The 12th, I think.
12th?
Right.
Yeah, I've seen dates thrown out, the 12th through the 14th and the 13th through the 15th.
On that program that I was looking at, this just took me somewhere else. don't know what it did. This says February 13th is session, registration, all that stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess what I was
one of those days.
After the potential vote Sunday.
Say that again?
Yeah.
The conference begins after the potential vote Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. Because my point was that would speak volumes into the conference, which would reverberate.
And how important it is.
If they got that, wow, look what they did. They said they was going to, and they did. How many times have they hit that mark? Saying, and my point was, having said we're going to do X and meeting X on the day we said we're going to do it. So it's great. See, I'm a great what they say. I'll jump and skip, but I'm going to be anticipating action. And I'm like,
goes back to, I think, the history of Iraq. I think everybody just expects them to fail. All they do is talk. But I mean,
I'm
I
different.
see the budget as a holdup, but I also think that the other incredible things that they've done, and the budget's what some people have control over to try to at least slow down the progress.
There you go.
And they're going to get bulldozed over, or they're going to get in line and let's do this. And at this point, it seems like they're just taking them out. Like, you're not going to do what your job is, which is to come in here and let's figure this out and vote, or you're going to be out of here and you're going to get suspended and you're going to have some of your money taken away. I know there was something else in there, but, quit talking. And I really do hope, I mean, we all do, of course, but how incredible would it be to see them come through on Sunday and just finish it and everything be great and all the incredible news articles that will come out afterwards. It'll be awesome.
You anticipate being busy afterwards, don't you?
I do, and I look forward to it.
There you go. I look forward to it myself. I guess our only caution here.
And I'm sorry, Bobby.
Oh, no, you guys are doing great.
You did great, Kayla. Don't worry about that. My only caution statement here would be that, we're not implying that this conference is an end-all, be-all. We're saying it has the potential to be that generator, the catalyst for the change that we all know that we're looking for, that Iraq's capable of if the circumstances can be steered correctly, properly by the right authority. So, people who don't see what's going on, or see what's going on and don't think that it's monumentous, just are numb to the daily amount of stuff. You've gotten inundated by how much stuff now, because if you remember back once upon a time, you could go 6 months and not rub 2 great articles together. Now it's daily. Now it's within hours. Within 1 hour, you can rub 3 or 5 articles together that would start a forest fire. And I guess people have gotten numb a little bit to some of this. So, we've seen less of the naysaying, but it still goes on. And again,
well, yeah. I know for me personally, I know some people are. The way I live my life, so I seem very happy about stuff, but I just choose to be positive, so that may come off as like, oh, this is the end-all, be-all. No, I don't think that, and I actually am very realistic in what I think, and I just try to have faith in the system that a body is doing what he has said he is doing, which is what we want, our end game. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not here for all of Iraq's politics. I'm here to potentially get a little bit of money out of this. It's an investment. Getting your head spun up by all the daily stuff. I mean, of course it drives you crazy, but you've got to realize that nobody knows when it's going to happen. Nobody knows what it's going to come out at. And you can enjoy the good news, or you can spin yourself out over, well, it may happen today. It might happen the day after. It might be 2 weeks. We don't know. It's just great news. It's what we want to see, and there's no reason to not be excited about that.
Yeah. You know, that's a good point. This is news as of late that you needed to see in order to make all these gurus' predictions come true.
Right.
This is the news. This is the news that we follow. Okay, we follow the news, and we tie the news in together with other news articles. Like I said, 2 + 2 does equal 4 sometimes. So yeah, I mean, everything that's coming out now, we're trying to tie it all in together. And like Kay said, we seem excited about things, but because as researchers, and I'm not saying I'm the end all, Pat or Kaylee's the end all or anything like that, but we do put some effort into this thing, and we talk a lot. We talk to other people, and we kind of get a feel for where this is going. And you have every right to be excited right now about this. And if I could just read it, you know what? This came out of a meeting with Kuwait, and I don't mean to get off track here, but I found this real interesting on the heels of the NIC article and what the COM has done. And this is coming from Kuwait. And they said many Iraqi government finally legislation concerning capital guarantee Arab and foreign investors and creating safe conditions for these investments and the development of the country and the investor confidence and ensure his capital. This is coming from Kuwait, okay? So, and this is why I get excited because right after that, we saw the NIC article. Okay? So, yeah, we are trying to tie this in and not going out on some bold asinine, this is happening right now, or, you'll see it on the bank screens at 7 Central tomorrow morning. That's what we're about. If you,
no, not at all.
I mean, personally, if I see Pat or Kaylee excited, yeah, I know it's a good thing. I know it's a good thing. And just like last night on the NIC article, you have every right as a group, as an investor, as an individual, to be excited about this. I mean, you really do. Now is the time take the shoes off and slide across the floor. It's a good time for us. And trust me, I did that last night. But
so you run down the boxers, so.
Oh man, it was an absolute thing of beauty. No, it wasn't. But I guess at this point we're our next window to look at is Sunday. See what they do with the budget. I know some people have thought no budget, no conference. I haven't seen that yet. I don't think it would be a good thing not to pass the budget Sunday.
I think it would be. It would probably, make people question a couple of things, as it would any investor looking to invest in a country who can't even pass their own budget because they're fighting so much. I mean, that would be a concern, I would assume. But that's why a body coming out and saying, do your job. Let's get this done. It's unacceptable for you guys not to have this done already. It's treason. So get it done. Let's do it. Let's finish it up and show these people that, we are what we are saying we are.
Yeah. The best case scenario for Sunday would be this. They have a quorum. The Kurds are involved. They pass a budget. Okay. Mm-hmm. What that tells the investors is Baghdad and Erbil are working together in the form that they can pass this budget. Okay, you're always going to have squabbles. I mean, there are different parties, different blocks in Kurdistan that side with Baghdad and or side with Kurdistan.
And you've spoken to that many times about the history between all of the different groups of people, and they may be a young democracy, but Iraq has been around for a very long time. So Lots of people that disagree with each other.
That's a good point. Just because you put a label on something like democracy, you still have the old guard in there that are going to have the political infighting, the sectarian quabbles, or squabbles. If two guys get along and they're having lunch and just having a good time, becoming the best of friends. All of a sudden, one finds out one's a Sunni and the other one's a Shiite. Well, that changes everything. Now, why? We just spent an hour having lunch and having fun, but now that I'm a Sunni and you're a Shiite, we can't get along? Well, yeah, that's just the way it is, and that's the way it will be. But they need to get along to the point of passing this budget. And, you can live your Sunni life and I'll live my Shiite life. And, we'll all be fine,
all the best, everybody.
This is all, yeah. So, the next window of opportunity that we're looking at is obviously Sunday. And we'll wake up Sunday morning and we'll see all the headlines first, and we'll get a feel for where this is going. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen in Parliament before they even publish the extender. I can just go off the headlines and tell you exactly what's going on. And I've done it before where I've posted all the headlines under the articles, and then I thought, well, crap, maybe I should just wait for the extender. That'll be fun. But, as
coming out
as researchers, we know what's going to happen.
Bobby, sometimes what's coming out is so good, you just want to put the blurbs out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of those blurbs will tell our group exactly where this is going. I think I did the last Parliament hearing, and there was a fight in the cafeteria, and I was like, "Ooh, this ain't going to go well." And sure enough, it didn't go very well. So we'll see Sunday morning. I'm looking forward to it, and I have no idea of how this is going to turn out. And if anybody does, good luck with that. Of course, I bet on the Patriots. That tells you where I'm at. But anyway,
so did I.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put any money. I think I told somebody today, this budget has a 50-50 chance of passing or failing. Well, that's it. I mean, that's all you can gather from all these articles of we have an agreement, we don't have an agreement, 12.67, 14%, 17%. Who knows?
Yeah.
I can pretty much assure you 17's out the window. But, 12.67 and 14% is definitely in play.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's another thing that this budget, it's not just the Kurds, and it's not just Baghdad. These are other provinces as well, oil-producing provinces. See what's going on, and see what they're offering the Kurds, and they're saying, "Whoa, wait a minute, there, fella. I'm down here in Basra, and if you're going to give 14% to the Kurds." We deserve just as much because we are oil producing and we are port oriented. So right. This is not just about the Kurds in Baghdad. These are oil producing provinces that want their fair share of the petrodollar. If they're going to do all the work, then you need to give them more money to pay these contracts and everything. So I think that's one little thing we kind of miss on this budget thing is that
I would agree.
We see all the articles and everything, but trust me, this is not just the Kurds alone. So,
hey Bobby, we've seen
yes, sir.
We've seen a little bit more on the releasing of powers to the provinces. Seems like
and you know what? That's going to come along with the donor country. You see it in Diyala, you see it in Karbala, you're seeing it everywhere where they're trying to be in the forefront of their own and of their own investment projects. That was hardly ever seen because the central government controlled everything. So you're starting to see a little decentralization from Baghdad giving power to the provinces and stuff like that. I think you'll see more of it come with the kickstart of the donor conference, because they're going to go to every province. It's not just the war-torn provinces of Niev, Anbar, and places. They're going to go all around Iraq, and they're going to build up these provincial councils and let them seek their own investment opportunities, especially from the non-oil producing provinces. They have got to give there was something about a water park they're building. I mean, if you go to Basra Projects or Iraq Construction on Facebook, it's crazy. So see, all these other little provinces or non-oil producing provinces are kind of sitting there saying, well, dang, I wish we had oil. Okay, well then what do we do? Well, let's do something else that will spark investments. We have to make it tourist friendly, tourism, everything. I mean, tourism's, and I think that's part of the donor conference itinerary. They're going to speak on tourism. They're going to speak on investments. They're going to speak on the industrial aspect, the private sector aspect. The ag, the ag sector I think was in there. If not, it was going to be added. Trust me, this donor conference is just going to flat out blow your socks off.
Well, what I'm seeing is with this province, the provincial powers thing, is that, for instance, the one spokesman, I don't remember the province, you'll forgive me, but was talking about international help had helped his province more than the federal government. My point is not that the federal government is lax. My point is that this Provincial Powers Act would free up to a degree the provinces by way of farming out their ability to add to their budgets, meaning that on the heels of this international conference, there would be potential movement by provinces with enough powers to do so, to interact with these people without having to necessarily go through the government anymore, so they're not dependent on the government's timeliness to get them what is proper for that province. So they're able to hedge their bets a little bit by farming out how they get income. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
See, I think that came from the British into Karbala, if I recall correctly. And I do remember the statement made that these guys are helping us more than the federal government. And see, that's where you get these people that are allowed to go into these provinces. The British will see if these investors can do the same. They can go into the province and do what everybody else has done for Iraq as a whole, as far as this NIC stuff and everything we've seen that's good. Well, now they're going to break it. Instead of a macro type thing, they're going to go more micro. And they're going to go to these provinces, and they're going to help them sustain what they have without the influence of Baghdad, period. Baghdad will reap the benefits through taxes and everything else. But, these provinces have got to stand on their own, whether it be from, an industrial type economy within the province, or tourism or anything.
It behooves them to have an investment plan of their own accord, but that's only properly implemented if they have powers available to them. If they're still beholding for everything to the central government, then there's a problem. They can't, as it were, farm anything out. Everything has to go through central government. So it's important, and I guess what I'm saying is it was important to see some of these powers being released to the provinces. I wasn't sure of the full context, but just powers to the provinces eventually the provincial powers thing will allow these provinces to not be just dependent. So it's a boon for them. It's where I'm going. And behind this donor conference, that the provinces get in there with a good plan and start making contacts, how do you do's and handshakes. You see what I'm saying? In ways that they can pad the budget aside from being dependent on the government. They may find out it's the best world they've come across yet.
Well, and that's a good point because in the previous regime, what was his name, Maliki? They weren't allowed to. Yeah, that booger. They weren't allowed to do this, and that's why I keep telling everybody. I said, look, man, everything in the past is the past. What Abadi's done since he's come to office, he's dealt with ISIS. He's dealt with a lot of the political stuff. He's done actually a really good job of keeping Iraq intact, aside from ISIS. I mean,
right.
the sectarian violence in Iraq was a daily thing, and it was still a daily thing through the Maliki regime, if not worse. So since he's come to office, his unifying of Iraq is just everything short of a miracle. Matter of fact, it may be deemed a miracle one day. I don't know, but. Just him preserving Iraq as a whole is crazy. Now, he's allowing, like what Pat was talking about, he's allowing the decentralization. It doesn't need to be a big fanfare or anything like that. We've seen a gradual release of the central powers to the provinces. And, I think what Pat brought up, that was the Brits going into Karbala and assisting them. And I think you'll see the same thing with the donor conference. They'll go to each province and say, okay, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. This is your income from now on. You don't have to rely solely on Iraq passing or Baghdad passing a budget to where you get your money and stuff like that. You will be self-reliant. Granted, you'll get federal funds for certain programs, or just like we do here. But for the most part, you'll be self-reliant. And that's exactly where they're going with this. And the donor conference will be the big kickstart to each province working towards, being self-reliant.
That's why it's so important to get to the bottom of corruption, or get corruption somewhat curtailed too. Is that this powers now, and you can understand why they haven't just wanted to throw this out there, especially trying to get a handle on corruption. So these powers have been, as corruption is being accomplished, and we see that on a quote, or I don't want to say quote, that's stupid, on a worldwide basis, literally worldwide basis, Iraq's corruption is being worked on. So,
do you think that the corruption needs to be gone 100%?
No. How can it be? Nobody's accomplished that yet. Nobody's accomplished.
Well, and I think that's where people forget.
Yeah, people expect corruption to be gone all the way or something.
Yeah.
But look at our government. There's no way.
Our president issued an executive order back in December that pretty much said corruption of governments within government will no longer be tolerated. That's internal and external. That's a quote from his executive order. And I think,
which is sad that it should have never been tolerated, yet that's neither here nor there. But.
Well, all these people were given free rein to ship their money out of their countries and into foreign banks, and that's, thankfully, we have a president that saw that, and lo and behold, in December of last year, you saw the executive order come out, and that put every country on notice. Not to get into politics, but this guy means business. Just like when he voted or assigned Jerusalem the capital of Israel. Okay, there were a lot of countries that went against him in the UN. How'd their funding go now? Hello, we've slashed your funding. Okay, and it's the same thing he's going to do with this corruption thing. No longer will we tolerate you having free reign to ship your money abroad or tolerate your tactics of corruption within your own country. It's not going to happen anymore.
Do you think that's contingent on being a political season or not?
As far as our president?
His application of his no tolerance for corruption and
you know what, Pat? I think he saw what, and I'll limit it to our country. I know there are other countries that gave life, limb, treasure, and everything like that over this ISIS thing in previous wars. Is that he saw an attempt to downgrade ISIS to an almost nothing level. They're still around, don't doubt that. But what caused ISIS? I think he looked at it that way. What caused ISIS? And it was all this corruption going on, of all this that was depriving the average citizen of a decent life, and whether it was sectarian favoritism or what, he got tired of it. And he said, you know what, no longer can we not look at what caused ISIS. And what caused ISIS was certain sects within Iraq these Shiites ignoring the Sunnis and stuff like that. And they saw a chance to come in and capitalize on that. You can't forget that ISIS originally was welcomed into Iraq by the Sunnis. Why? Why were they welcomed in? Well, because they were getting crapped upon by the Shiites. And sorry, that's just my opinion, but history will bear it out. And like I said, our president saw how this happened. Everybody can go into the deep dark web and say, well, Clinton and Obama did this. I don't care. Iraq did this. Iraq did this, period. And it was Maliki who did this. So, I ain't going on a tangent here, but like I said, he saw an opportunity on this corruption issue, and he took a stand. Was it an overnight fix? No. This will be an ongoing thing, and I think governments are starting to get a grasp on, we just can't continue to do business the way we've been doing business, especially in Iraq. So I didn't mean to bring American politics into this, but there are times when it's brought into this.
Help.
So that's why people can't forget the most recent past, and December was a big month for us, and that they reclaimed their sovereignty from ISIS. We can't forget about the OFAC order. We can't forget about the executive order. We can't forget about all this stuff. We can't forget about the release from Chapter 7 from the Oil for Food program. All this stuff is tying in to where we are today and where we will be next week.
Lots happened, man. And it's not for nothing. There's an end. That's what we're all holding this stuff for. Is we believe.
Well, there's an end game to this. Iraq is an emerging economy that will be an industrial giant. Okay, period. With all their natural resources, hell, just their oil alone, they'll be an industrial giant. They just need to manage it a little bit better. Okay, so once Iraq becomes this king of the hill that we've always heard about and where they're going, well, then that's when you make me happy, and I will no longer have to wake up every morning and go through news sites and everything like that. I will be a happy.
It'll be some adjusting once it happens, huh?
Oh yeah, and you know what? I've adjusted to being poor. I've adjusted to being middle income. I've adjusted to having a little bit of money in my pocket. I can adjust. I can adjust to being rich. Trust me. It's a hell of a lot easier than eating top ramen noodles when you're in college. You know, and figuring, hey, you know what? Fritos go real good with top ramen. Crumble them up and put them in there. Let's see what we got. Hey, good stuff. I could write a cookbook on top ramen noodles.
That sounds.
I mean, so yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to have the riches that I invested in. You bet I am, and I will handle it very well. So.
Well, you've had enough time to get ready, right? I mean. Gosh.
Well, you know that, and that's another thing I'd like to speak to the group or whoever's listening. Get ready for this. You know, get ready for this. You know, you don't have to go out and bug banks about, you know, is this done yet? Or, you know, I went to the bank and they told me, no. Just, I mean, you use your brain and think about what you want to do with this once it happens. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day about, you know, they sent me an article about, you know, all these lottery winners that are ended up dead, broke, or, you know, whatever. You know, trust me, people, you're in the same arena. You're in the same arena that when this thing happens, it's like winning the lottery. It will be. And
except you've had many years to at least try to research. Yeah, and you should be treating it like a lottery. I mean, not in the sense that it's not the right wording, maybe, but it is a very quick inflow of cash or money that you have coming in, and don't be stupid. Don't go out and spend it on stuff that you don't need. Don't go out immediately and buy a bunch of stuff. Talk to some people, talk to some bankers, talk to some tax attorneys. There's going to be a lot of people to talk to that are going to be able to help you out and help you, you know, hopefully invest your monies again so that you continue to have, you know, income coming in. And there's many different factors for a lot of different people.
Yeah, and, you know, that's a good point. That's a good point, Kayla. You know what? And do this before you even, for lack of a better term, cash in. I mean, do all of this because you know what? Okay, let's say this happens tomorrow morning. Okay, you've got money in hand. That's the big thing. You've got money in hand. Now you can go talk to these people. Because if you go talk to all these people and you have no money, then
you're wasting their time, your time, and they're going to think you're crazy.
Exactly. So once this happens, don't be scared to not cash in. Don't say, well, you know, I got to cash in now, you know, while the getting's good. It's a currency, people. I mean, yeah, you know, it's going to fluctuate and stuff like that. You know, your spread rate may be different than mine. It depends on what it's at that day. You know, that's just all there is to it.
Don't be afraid to walk out of a bank if you're not happy with the spread you're getting. There are many other banks out there. There are many other people that are going to be willing to help you at great fees or no fees, depending on certain circumstances. But that's why you have to research. That's why you have to go out and do some due diligence and find out as much information as you possibly can before you even touch a penny of it. You know.
Kaylee?
Oh yeah.
You said it. You said it right, Kaylee. You said treat it like a lottery. Exactly, because a lottery is a windfall unexpected. This is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Even today, this is not guaranteed. So in the one aspect, you were totally correct when you said treat this like a lottery. And what do you do with a lottery? Some people do different things. If you knew this far ahead of time, your lottery had a potential greater winning chance than the 1 in 500 trillion that you get with Publishers Clearinghouse. Well, then what you might want to do is think about what you would do with this. You would think about what my personal plans call for. That's why we as a group can't give information, because everybody's plan might be different. What works for one may not work for another. And but to have a plan that you didn't use is better than needing a plan you don't have. So,
for sure.
Like the guys are pointing out right now, Everybody should be coming up with what would you do. Okay, so on the one hand, this is like a lottery. This is windfall from nowhere for small investments. It's not a guarantee. None of us here are guaranteeing anything. But what we're saying is the potential is greater than it's ever been. Being as we've said that, being as other people push more than that, but the point is you should be coming up with what your personal plan might look like. You know, you
and maybe
keep
your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Not you, Pat, but
no.
Just in general. There was one lottery winner I just read about the other day who it's been 30 days, and she does not want to come out and announce who she is because she wants to be anonymous. She does not want anybody to know her name. And so before she claims her prize, and it's like $500 million. I mean, it's a ton of money. But she wants to be guaranteed that she's going to be able to keep her anonymity. I can't even say it. Anonymity? Okay, thank you. I'm just going to move on. But, yeah, the fact that she's thinking about that, knowing that people are going to be knocking at your door. Think about all the people that you've told that know you have Dinar. Now, think about the fact that when they know it does RV, they're going to know you have it. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's harsh.
No, that's fine. It should be a need-to-know basis. Anybody you tell
right.
because they need to know this information.
Well, it's just like when you have a job, do you go out and tell, like, Bobby, I don't know how much you make. Do you want to tell me? Is that my business? It's none of my business. It's none of anybody else's business either. So don't go off and tell them. Keep it to yourself.
Exactly.
Sorry. Yeah. Again, I'm apologizing a lot.
Well, no, you know what? These are good points to bring up towards the end of the call. Is that we can't ignore the fact that everything we've talked about in the last hour is leading to lives being potentially turned inside out overnight. I mean, you can go turned inside out overnight one of two ways. Financially, you can go broke or you can be rich. Well, You know what? Everything we've invested in this thing is turning to the point of us being rich. Bottom line, it's, and that will turn your life upside down if you're not careful with it.
I would put money on the fact that people with no plan are going to be broke sooner than the people with a plan, and a plan they're going to stick with. A plan is great, but if it's not a plan that's comfortable and you can stick with, then it's just so much noise you've created. But we're talking about workable plans, and
some of those are going to be the people that have been here for 7 or 8 years waiting on this thing to happen and just decided not to do anything about it.
There you go. Realistic plans too. You're not going to go out and save, the Yucatan and build orphanages in, Bogota, if you don't take care of you and your family first. If you do those other things without taking care of you and your family, then you're an infidel. And you can look up that word in Webster.
Well, I also think about the people who want to buy $1 million homes. And do you know how much it costs to maintain $1 million home, the taxes on that? Think about that stuff before you go out and buy it. Obviously, again, you'll have financial advisors and all of that stuff that will guide you and tell you what's best. But, if you only invested $5 million Dinar and it goes 1-to-1, you're going to walk away with half of that, and then you guys can do the math. So.
Well, you know what? There are two words, and since this is a recorded call, it'll be recorded and played back, I assume. Asset protection. If you haven't Googled that and researched asset protection, you're doing yourself and your family a disservice. You really are, because those people who don't think that aspect of their lives will be the people you read about in these papers about lottery winner goes broke, or stuff like that. If you don't protect your asset, your asset is open to loss. I'll put it, but asset protection. If you have a computer, if you have a library or whatever, just go look up those two words. And that will give you an idea of what you have to do before you go and cash in all this money and travel here, travel there, buy your big houses, your fancy cars, or whatever. Just look this up and get an idea of what those two words mean. It's that simple.
There you go.
You know?
And that's
now,
part of a plan. That's a plan. You know, again, you have to have a plan.
Yep, I agree.
Boy, we're running late here.
No, we definitely got off topic a little bit, so I apologize. I know I had still have some help in that, but I'm so glad that we had another great call, and I look forward to Sunday. I look forward to seeing what Sunday holds for us.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we'll go into Sunday, which will propel us into next week, and buckle up. Put your mouth guard in. Wear clean socks. Do whatever you do, but get ready for Sunday through Wednesday or Thursday. It's going to be, or it's got the potential to be a knee knocker for sure.
Put your foam cheese hat on.
There you go. So, all right, guys. Well, I definitely appreciate you having me on here, and look forward to maybe one more of these, two more. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, you guys have a great day.
Pat, you want to close it out with your with some words of wisdom?
Sure. I hope everybody has a great day and got something out of the call. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.